Most of us have spent the last 2 days in dialogue around disruption and leadership, and I'm sure we've all been garnering our most rational, passionate arguments. But it's my thought that we have to move ourselves before we can move the world. And so I'm going to take 3 shots at trying to shift the ground for you and levitate you a little bit. Poems can do many things. They can be a charm, a torch, a talisman, a touchstone, and sometimes they can be a call to arms. That's a disruptive poem. And those ones generally act kind of like a homing device, going to our innermost hopes and fears and confusion. And sometimes just discovering that somebody else has put into words that secret, maybe forgotten or unstated or even unacknowledged part of us can be incredibly powerful and incredibly disruptive. So my thought is that we need poems like that. We need art as a prod to get us to that space. I'm going to start with a bit of a mashup. It's a sampler of lines that have really struck me over the years from an international group of poets: Antonio Machado, Mary Oliver, Jane Hirschfield, Craig Arnold, Radcliffe Squires, and Ernst Stadler. Maybe one will strike a chord for you. You can feel free to close your eyes if it helps open them. Traveler, there is no road. The road is made by walking. You have only to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves, as this life is not a gate, but the horse plunging through it. The heart loves the sound of its own breaking. All music is a lost self, and the lost self returns to you only when your grief for him makes you kind. Stop being a ghost. In the wonderful poet Rilke's sonnet to the archaic torso of Apollo, he studies this broken fragment of man's reverence for a higher power. And he works to try to put the pieces together and ends up with a pretty stunning final line, which shocks but also compels and almost seems inevitable. So listen for those last lines and listen to them. We cannot know his legendary head with eyes like ripening fruit, and yet his torso is still suffused with brilliance from inside, like a lamp in which his gaze, now turned to low, still gleams in all its power. Otherwise, the curved breast could not dazzle you so, nor could a smile run through the placid hips and thighs to that dark center where procreation flared. Otherwise, this stone would seem defaced beneath the translucent cascade of the shoulders and would not gleam like a wild beast's fur, would not, from all borders of its being, burst like a star, for here there is no place that does not see you. You must change your life. So the truth lives inside of us. Art pushes it into the light and makes response unavoidable, actionable. We, you and I, are always implicated in the presence of great art. With great art, there are no innocent bystanders. Art provides the idea, we must provide the response. And if you'd permit me, I'd like to end with one really beautiful poem by Jules Supervielle, just translated by Ken Rexroth, great San Francisco poet. It was written shortly before the poet's death after a long illness, and it is called Homage to Life. It's good to have chosen a living home and housed time in a ceaseless heart, to have seen my hands alight upon the world as a little apple in a garden, to have loved the earth, the moon, and the sun like old friends who have no equals, to have committed the world to memory like a bright horseman to his black steed, to have given a face to these words, woman, children, to have been ashore for the wandering continents, and to have come upon the soul with the tiny strokes of oars because it is frightened by a brusque approach. It is beautiful to have known the shade under the leaves and feel age creep across the naked body, and to have accompanied pain of black blood in the veins and gilded its silence with the star, patience, and to have all these words moving around in my head, to choose the least beautiful of them and let them have a ball, to have felt life hurried and ill-loved and locked it up in this poetry. Thank you.